All right, let's jump right into this explainer. We're looking at the documented 2026 reality of AI's dark side. And look, we are moving way past theoretical sci-fi here. This is a measurable crisis, and it's actively reshaping both our digital and physical worlds. The capabilities we're impacting today, they aren't some distant projections for the future. They are documented realities happening right now.
The core issue we're dealing with is that this is a dual-use technology. Think about it. The exact same neural network architecture that we use for profound good, like flawlessly identifying cancer in a CT scan, is inherently capable of devastating harm, like generating a photorealistic deepfake of a politician taking a bribe. It's the same underlying engine, just pointed in different directions. To keep things focused, we'll be covering 6 key areas today. First, the dual-use dilemma. Second, the cybercrime supply chain. Third, epistemic pollution. Fourth, the algorithmic panopticon. Fifth, the asymmetry problem. And finally, number 6, the erosion of trust.
Starting with Section 1, the dual-use dilemma, the inherent property of general-purpose technology.
Moving right into Section 2, the cybercrime supply chain, industrializing the art of the attack.
So we really have to understand that this dual-use nature isn't a bug or a design flaw, it's simply the nature of the tool itself. We are totally past the days of hackers in hoodies furiously typing away in dark rooms. Cybercrime is a full-blown industry now. Just think about this number, 31.3. In a June 2026 proof of concept by researchers at the University of Toronto and Cambridge, a fully autonomous AI worm actually identified an average of 31.3 vulnerabilities per run. It exploited nearly 74% of a test network, and the crazy part? It did the whole thing entirely without human intervention. It reasoned, it identified vulnerabilities, synthesized the exploits, and then propagated. It even ingested public security advisories at runtime so it could exploit flaws that didn't even exist when the model was first trained. Wild, right? And just notice the massive shift in scale we're dealing with. We're going from a 16-hour creation time for a human down to just 5 minutes for an AI. That is a 192-fold speed increase. But, criminals aren't just sending more phishing emails. They're sending highly personalized, grammatically perfect traps. Because the quality has leaped so much, the click-through rate jumps from 12% to an absolutely astonishing 54%.
Naturally, this automation of harm scales directly to massive financial losses. Take this $35 million figure. That is from a documented case in Hong Kong where a bank manager authorized this massive real-world transfer. Why? Because he was on a video call where every single executive on the screen, the CFO, his daily colleagues, every one of them was a deepfake.
The 2026 International AI Safety Report actually warns that these tools are basically commoditized now on dark web marketplaces. You can get synthetic identity kits for about $5. Deepfake video generators? Those run $30 to $200 a month. And the technical expertise required to use them is literal zero. High-level cybercrime has essentially turned into a totally affordable monthly subscription for anyone with a credit card.
Which brings us to Section 3, epistemic pollution, contaminating the information environment.
So shifting gears from financial theft to cognitive harm, we can see exactly what happens when influence operations evolve. Epistemic pollution is defined as the deliberate contamination of the information environment until citizens basically no longer know what to believe. See, the ultimate goal of sophisticated disinformation isn't actually to convince you of a specific lie. It's way deeper than that. The goal is to convince you that the truth itself is unknowable. To put that in perspective, a peer-reviewed analysis estimated that roughly 20%, so 1 in 5, social media accounts participating in major political discourse in 2025 were actually AI-driven bots. And they aren't just broadcasting clunky, obvious propaganda anymore. They're jumping into threads, they're expressing sympathy, and they are impartially muddying the waters of global democracy through sustained, highly personalized interaction. Let's move to Section 4, the algorithmic panopticon, state surveillance and control. Moving from criminals to institutions, we enter a space where governments are utilizing these exact same pattern-matching systems for unprecedented monitoring. By March of 2026, the Federation of American Scientists documented at least 9 wrongful arrests in the U.S. directly tied to facial recognition misidentification. The ACLU even documented cases where innocent individuals spent months in jail simply because law enforcement treated flawed algorithm matches as definitive, unassailable proof, even though these algorithms have documented biases against certain demographics. Essentially, a statistical prediction was treated as an actual warrant for arrest.
And this flawed logic feeds directly into predictive policing, creating a really devastating feedback loop. It goes like this. Step 1, an algorithm predicts a high crime area based on historical data. Step 2, police heavily increase their presence and surveillance there. Step 3, that increased policing naturally leads to more arrests. And Step 4, that new arrest data feeds right back into the system, perfectly reinforcing the algorithm's initial assumption. It's basically discrimination dressed up in the shiny language of data science, completely stripping accountability from human decision makers.
Globally, China's social credit system serves as probably the most comprehensive example of using AI not just to predict behavior, but to actively, punitively shape it. By tying together facial recognition and financial tracking, the system's punitive scoring restricts things like travel, loans, and education. What is absolutely crucial to note here is that this exact architecture of control is being exported to smart cities all over the globe, effectively eliminating the very possibility of anonymous dissent.
On to Section 5, the asymmetry problem. Why defense is failing.
Now, you might be wondering, why don't we just, patch these vulnerabilities or build better filters? Well, there's a massive structural asymmetry at play here. On the attack side, it's cheap, it's instantaneous, and it has zero marginal cost per infection. But on the defense side, it requires perfect security hygiene, immense global coordination, and vast expense. Literally, a teenager with a downloaded open-weight model can spin up disinformation for pennies. Meanwhile, defending against that exact same attack requires retraining millions of corporate employees and deploying incredibly expensive international fact-checking infrastructure. The attacker just inherently always has the advantage of initiative.
And finally, Section 6, the erosion of trust, when everything can be faked. Ultimately, all of these threats we've talked about, from AI worms to deepfake fraud to predictive policing, they all converge into one deeply personal and societal implication: the complete collapse of our shared epistemic foundation. Back in March 2026, the World Economic Forum warned, and I'll quote, "Advanced AI and synthetic media are spreading disinformation, creating a global crisis that threatens to destabilize modern democracies." Because think about it, when video evidence, a voice call from a loved one, or medical information can simply no longer be trusted, markets malfunction, justice stumbles, and democratic deliberation becomes completely impossible.
And the thing is, you don't even have to be a specific target of a hacker to be affected by this. If you have a bank account, social media profiles, a vote in an election, or honestly, simply a face, this erosion of trust is the water you are now swimming in. This isn't just an isolated tech issue, it's an atmospheric condition affecting absolutely everyone participating in our modern digital society.
So, ignoring these documented capabilities, that isn't optimism, it's negligence. The bright side and the dark side are the exact same technology, which leaves us with one profound question to consider to wrap things up today. Do we have the wisdom to manage them before they manage us? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I really hope it gave you a clearer, sharper lens through which to view these incredibly complex systems.